Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a little get ready with me while I talk about some of the things that have been going on in my life. So for the last 7 months, I want to say I worked for this corporation. I started out there as a dispatcher. I previously worked there before I worked there as a data entry, and I ended up moving up very quickly, like within 6 months, and became an accountant there. No schooling, nothing. I always took my extra time at home or on the weekends to learn whatever I needed to learn to excel on my own, because if I take a position and I know I don't have the training, I know I need to put in the extra work to be able to do what is required of me and do it properly. So this time when I went back, I had this idea that I was gonna work there for years and make a career out of it. Oh, well, that didn't happen. So I was doing dispatching, and I was also given insurance claims at the same time when I started back there in October. No problem. I got bored very quickly. I also had an audit that they wanted me working on, which was fine, no problem. I can do anything that anyone gives me as long as I'm given the correct directions the first time. And yeah, it just didn't go that way. So I want to say after about on January 31st, I took the recruiting position, which great, wonderful. I love it. I love learning. I love jobs that are a little harder than the normal ones. I was excited. Well, everything just went badly very quickly. So for about the last, I want to say not this last week, but the 3 weeks before that, I was working 6 to 7 days a week most weeks, just to get the audit done for them to come in when drivers had a problem with the equipment, just so that we can keep the company up and running while we are dealing with all the stresses of everything else, which was not a problem for me. At the time, and currently they're still short staffed, so I was also doing collections and a few of the accounting assistant's job. I was scanning for them. I was pretty much doing anything and everything I could to make their lives easier. So when I took this position, I was told, oh, you'll get $100 for every 4 drivers you hire. I was like, cool, whatever. I just wanted to get in the position. I just wanted to learn. I wanted to hire the drivers. I wanted to do it. And yeah, so I hire my first 4 drivers, and I bring it to their attention. And I'm informed at that moment that no, it was actually I needed to hire 4 drivers in a week. Which, for this company, is just not realistic, because they've had so many bad experiences with drivers and what they've done to drivers, and it's just not an easy place to get drivers in and out of. I mean, once I get them in, they're already on their way out after their first run. So it was like a constant battle of just having a replacement for the drivers that I just hired, because they were already sick of everything. Which I don't blame them. A lot of it was unfair to them. The equipment was dirty. They weren't given the proper equipment that met what experience they had. And I don't blame them for not wanting to stay. Sorry, I also have been fighting a really bad case of strep throat, so I might sound really weird. I was able to teach myself because they had no one to teach me by the time I took the position. So I spent a lot of my weekends, my nights at home. I spent a lot of that learning, teaching myself, making notes, just so that I could excel at what I was doing. And, everything went great. Everything became easier. I was happy. I wanted to, like I said, I planned to stay there just so I can have a career. I've tried schooling. It just wasn't my thing. Anyways, the audit comes. We're down to about a week. Me and my other coworker, actually, we had been asking for weekends for this audit since we found out we had to have it complete by March 1st. They were able to get more time, whatever, great. At this time, I'm working 7 days a week. I can't take a day off because they still need me for my regular job. And mind you, these are people that I thought I had a really great relationship with because I previously worked there. I met my husband there. And it sucks when you get comfortable with the company because you start to view them as your family, and they talk to you about their problems, you talk to them about yours, and you think like, oh great, wonderful, we're all on the same page, we all want what's best for each other. Then this day came. We had a new truck that we needed to pick up in Indiana. So I brought a driver in, a driver that my boss had checked his application, confirmed that it was okay for me to hire him on, confirmed that it was okay to bring him in. Well, he comes in and he's not happy with his rate of pay, which no driver would be because it's below the minimum of what other companies are paying for truck drivers. So it's completely understandable. My thinking of it is, think of it as a probationary period because, I can always review, I can take your employment verifications, I can take, your records since you started with us to management and be like, hey, this is a good runner, they're always there when we need them, they're reliable, yada yada, get them their raise. So he doesn't want to do it for the pay rate, which is, like I said before, understandable. So I take my packet into my boss and I set it on her desk and I say, well, he wants to know how this is going to work because he wants to be paid more. He is expecting up to 60 cents per mile, which is what we're told to say. But in my defense, I believe it's just a false way of bringing more drivers in because we don't pay anyone that. And I bring this paperwork to her and I tell her, oh, he's not happy. He wants to know why it's so low. When I first hired these drivers on, or I started their process with them, they were told up to 60 cents based on experience. Well, she looks at me and she goes, why didn't you previously discuss his pay rate before he came in so we didn't have this problem? And I said, ma'am, no, I discuss with every driver the pay rate when they come in and they're filling out the application the day they're going to go out, because every job interview I've done, we discuss the rate of pay when I'm about to do the job, not before I even get hired on for the job. So she goes, this is your job, you should know how to do it. Mind you, they still didn't provide me any training. So everything that I was doing, and I've never had an issue up to that point with the driver. So yada yada, it pretty much ended up being my fault, and I ended up coming in the next day to an email with the final warning saying that I was disrespectful because they didn't like my tone. Well, that day when I had set my paperwork on her desk, she threw my paperwork and told me she didn't even want to talk to me and she didn't want to argue and everything else, but no one was arguing with her. If you expect something done a certain way, then take your time to train me so I can do it that way. Whatever. I told them, I'm putting in my 2 weeks because this is just getting to the point where it's like no one wants to take responsibility for anything there, and it all came down on me. We're going to go on to the audit. So we're doing the audit, and they're saying that the people that did it wrong the first time got too much training. The first people to do this audit were me and the other coworker, who were actually the only workers there at the time besides the owner. So pretty much saying that we did it wrong based off of the information and the training that the owner gave us. But it's not her fault. It's never her fault. Which was like, okay, cool, you're gonna blame me for this too now, I get it. Whatever. So a few days go by, and the audit's all done, and they're still being weird because that's what they do. They when they decide they don't like you, everybody gangs up on you at this place. It's very unprofessional. And I'm just over it at that point. So the following day after I got that final warning though, they cut my overtime right away. Which was like, whatever, because you barely paid me for it anyways because it's gonna kill you or whatever. Then after that, it became every little thing. Every time I came back to work, I noticed that they were going through my desk drawers, through my computers, trying to pretty much find ways to prove that I wasn't doing my job. So the last day that I went in, which was, well, I went in yesterday and went in the day before yesterday. But on Tuesday, I actually worked a full day because I got sent home on Monday for having strep throat, which was fine, I understand. But when I sat there and I worked the full day Tuesday, I told them, I'm still interested in staying with the company. There just needs to be some things figured out because it's very unprofessional the way you guys handle things and how you guys only take the side of one person. You guys sent me this final warning and then hired someone back that literally cussed you out, cussed your dispatcher out, and then walked out twice, but you want to come down on me. It's a slap in the face to your good employees when you're hiring back the same kind of employees that you are trying to tell me that I am, I guess. I don't know. Like, if you're saying I'm disrespectful, why are you going to go hire back the same lady that's disrespected you, your company, and your reliable workers twice? There's no logic there. But they're friends, so that's where that comes into play. And I've already made the remark to them that I don't have friends there. There is no friends. Yeah, so there's that. So I go to work Tuesday, and I tell them I'm still interested in working with the company. I just need to know how things are gonna work from now on because I'm not gonna deal with this one-sided shit pretty much. And yeah. So supposedly her and the owner discussed it, and I was like, okay, waiting for an answer, waiting for what I'm supposed to do next because, communication is important when you're running a company. And I get nothing. Then I come in to work tomorrow and they hired someone new, which is understandable. That's what happens when someone puts in their 2 weeks. But they expect me to train her. And they didn't even train me. So I'm like, why do you expect me to go out of my way to train somebody that on the stuff that I took the time myself to learn? And it's just not going to happen. Then I get, well, then you need to talk to the owner's husband, which I was never informed of up until this point. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to call the owner's husband and I'm not getting a response, yada yada. And I just told them, good luck to you. I hope everything works out. I'm not going to train someone when I didn't get paid for training and I didn't get trained by them. I taught myself. I took every opportunity. Excuse me. I taught myself through 10th Street. I took the free walkthrough classes that they have on there. Same with clearinghouse, same with the SAP information for SAP drivers. All of that I took upon myself to learn. How to get more drivers in, what drivers want to hear, the answers that you should have ready for drivers. All of it is findable and all of it is learnable. But I'm not going to give that information to somebody who is supposed to know this already because they're a recruiter. I was not. Sorry. So, although it's kind of like a petty game of bullshit, I sincerely hope that from there on out, they actually learn how to value their good employees, because you don't, and that was my biggest problem with them. I did not feel valued. I did not feel like everything I did mattered. And when I actually discussed with the manager, she actually confirmed that for me. She was like, well, why do you think you deserve a raise? And I explained to her, well, I'm doing your dispatching, I'm hiring your drivers, I'm doing your audit, I'm doing claims, I'm doing collections, I'm doing everything that you guys asked me to, and you guys don't feel I deserve a raise. Oh, well, you have to prove it. What do you mean prove it? You guys sit across from me 24/7, seeing what I'm doing, hearing me on the phone. You guys have spreadsheets, access to my emails, everything, and you're gonna tell me that I need to have some kind of proof that I was doing my job. Not to mention that there's 50 million cameras in the office and outside where the mechanics work, just so that she can keep track of everybody, because she swears someone's gonna steal from her. They're gonna talk bad about her. They're not doing their job. If you cannot trust your employees, don't hire anyone. Do it yourself. Hire your family. Plain and simple. It's not the fault of the employees when management is bad. The reason most people leave their jobs is because management is bad, not because they don't love their jobs. It's just plain and simple. So now, I'm sitting at home using this lovely tripod that my husband bought me and looking for jobs. I think yesterday I applied to about maybe 20 to maybe even 30 jobs. Luckily, I have a lot of experience in retail, customer service, management. So, you know, life goes on, but it really sucks because the same thing that happened with me is going to be the same thing that happens with the next person that they hire for that position. And there's never going to be any consistency until management is fixed, until they learn to trust their employees or hire people that they trust. Plain and simple. I do apologize. That's chamomile tea, and I'm trying so much to get my throat better because it's killing me. Well, thank you guys for listening to my rant.